All states' political parties created and joined this Act. This Act was enacted by all state political party owned and controlled governors. This Act also proves that the political parties created their own Commonwealth of Australia, purportedly outside our primary law, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, as proclaimed and gazetted. Clause 5 covers everyone, so all treasonous political parties, their judicial fraternity, professors and enforcers will end up facing up to their crimes they have committed. All states created and joined this act of treason. We have our proper seal with the lion and the unicorn of Queensland, Royal Coat of Arms, and the Royal Coat of Arms can only be used for what would pass the Royal Coat of Arms. On this act, the Royal Coat of Arms here are used in treason. The above Royal Coat of Arms represents common law of England, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of our other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. Sir Walter Campbell, Governor, the then Governor of Queensland, sold his soul to the treasonous political parties by using the Royal Coat of Arms and the enacting manner and form purporting to give this Act Crown authority, which equals treason. Be it enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Assembly of Queensland in Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same, as follows.
By using the Royal Coat of Arms and this enacting manner and form is in the pretense of giving this Act royal assent. This governor has well and truly sold his soul.
So, Australia Acts Request Act 1985, number 69 of 1985. The first paragraph. An Act to enable the constitutional arrangements affecting the Commonwealth and the states to be brought into conformity with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation.
When these people talk about conformity, under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, as proclaimed and gazetted, in the preamble, we have agreed to unite in one indissoluble federal Commonwealth under the Crown of the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Ireland, and under the Constitution hereby established. Now, they're telling us here that we are not in conformity, because they're saying to be brought into conformity. So in this system just alone, they're turning around and telling us that this Commonwealth of Australia is different to our Commonwealth of Australia as established under our Constitution.
Okay. So the Oxford Dictionary, status is a noun, the official classification given to a country.
Now, because they've used the word status, they are dictating what their Commonwealth of Australia is as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. That is, you can't change that, and in this Act it doesn't change, and all their Australia Acts, it hasn't changed. So they're dictating their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent federal nation.
Right. Under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, section 128, is referendum entrenched. To change the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a constitutional monarchy to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation. When was the referendum become a sovereign, independent and federal nation, which equals treason? Second paragraph. Whereas the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth and the Premiers of the States at conferences held in Canberra on the 24th and 25th of June 1982 and the 21st of June 1984 agreed on the taking of certain measures to bring constitutional arrangements affecting the Commonwealth and the states into conformity with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation.
Now, in this system here, they're explaining to us who conspired to remove all our rights, all our common law rights, our Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act, remove us from being a constitutional monarchy. All this system here is total. They're telling us it's total treason.
The Governor General, Prime Minister, state governors and the premiers of the states conspired on 2 occasions to restrain and overthrow the Queen, as shown below, from her position within the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, therefore also removing the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of our other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. When was the referendum to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation? Equals treason.
No.
Third paragraph. And whereas it has been agreed that the Parliament of the Commonwealth, at the request of the Parliaments of the States, in pursuance of section 51(38) of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia, should enact an act in the terms in the first schedule.
When this, I've read court cases on this, and the High Court, it's the political party's High Court. That's all we've got from 1979, and you can't get judges sitting in the High Court with Crown authority because you don't have a Governor General since 1960. So the Governor General and Council can't appoint anybody into the High Court or the Federal Court. So all these pieces of shit sitting in the High Court, they keep saying it's gone to the Constitution, but that Constitution's been copyrighted and sealed with their company seal, and it's under their changed definitions, as explained in the takeover by definition speech. By going to by using their High Court, they've pushed it through the system of being legal, but they're sitting in treason as well.
The status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation has no authority over the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, so can't engage the use of section 51(38), but the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 and criminal laws have authority over the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. When was the referendum to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation? Equals treason. Section 13 of the Australia Acts Request Act 1985. Amendment of Constitution Act of Queensland 13(1). The Constitution Act 1867 to 1978 of the State of Queensland is in this section referred to as the Principal Act. Number 2. Section 11A of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 3. A. By omitting from paragraph A, I, 1, and signet, and 2. Constituted under letters patent under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom, and B. By omitting from paragraph B, 1, and signet, and 2. Whenever and so long as the office of Governor is vacant or the Governor is incapable of discharging the duties of administration or has departed from Queensland. 3. Section 11B of the Principal Act is amended. A. By omitting Governor to conform to instructions and substituting definition of Royal Sign Manual. B. By omitting subsection 1, and C. by omitting from subsection 2. 1, 2, 2. This section and in, and 3. And the expression signet means the seal commonly used for the sign manual of the sovereign, or the seal with which documents are sealed by the Secretary of State in the United Kingdom on behalf of the sovereign. 4. Section 14 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 2 by omitting subject to his performing his duty prescribed by section 11b.
Now, when they remove the signet, that is the authority of the Commission for the Governors. So from this day forward, there is not a governor with Crown authority, because they've turned around now, because they've turned around and changed the definition of Royal Sign Manual. They've turned around and now we have our sign manual and public seal of the state. The public seal of the state is a corporation seal created by and for the political parties. So this is total treason in a sense, because the simple fact is they're removing Crown authority from the governor, representing the Queen, our Queen.
Alright, Queensland's Constitution Act 1867 to 1978. Requirement for referendum 53. Certain measures to be supported by referendum. 1. A bill that expressly or impliedly provides for the abolition of or alteration in the office of governor, or that expressly or impliedly in any way affects any of the following sections of this Act, namely sections 1, 2, 2A, 11A, 11B, 14, and this section 53, shall not be presented for assent by or in the name of the Queen unless it has first been approved by the electors in accordance with this section, and a bill so assented to, consequent upon its presentation in contravention of this subsection, shall be of no effect as an act.
That basically wipes out all the Australia Acts. This was done in Queensland in 1977. It was done in Western Australia in 1978.
Section 14 of the Australia Acts Request Act 1985. Amendment of Constitution Act of Western Australia 14.1. The Constitution Act 1889 of the State of Western Australia is in this section referred to as the Principal Act. Section 2. Section 50 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 3A by omitting from paragraph A 1. And signet, and 2. Constituted under letters patent under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom. B. By omitting from paragraph B 1. And signet, and 2. Whenever and so long as the office of governor is vacant or the governor is incapable of discharging the duties of administration or has departed from Western Australia, and C. By omitting from paragraph C 1. Under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom, and 2. During a temporary absence of the governor for a short period from the seat of government or from the state. Number 3. Section 51 of the Principal Act is amended. A. By omitting subsection 1, and B. By omitting from subsection 2. 1, 2, 2. This section and in, and 3. And the expression signet means the seal commonly used for the sign manual of the sovereign, or the seal with which documents are sealed by the Secretary of the State in the United Kingdom on behalf of the sovereign. Western Australia's Constitution Act 1889, Part 7, Miscellaneous. legislature as constituted by this Act empowered to alter any of its provisions. 73. Number 2. A bill that A. expressly or impliedly provides for the abolition of or alteration in the office of governor, or B. expressly or impliedly provides for the abolition of the Legislative Council or of the Legislative Assembly, or C. expressly or impliedly provides that the Legislative Council or the Legislative Assembly shall be composed of members other than members chosen directly by the people, or D. expressly or impliedly provides for a reduction in the numbers of the members of the Legislative Council or of the Legislative Assembly, or E. expressly or impliedly in any way affects any of the following sections of this Act, namely sections 2, 3, 4, 50, 51 and 73, shall not be presented for assent by or in the name of the Queen unless F. the second and third readings of the bill shall have been passed with the concurrence of an absolute majority of the whole number of the members for the time being of the Legislative Council and the Legislative Assembly, respectively, and G. the bill has also prior to such presentation been approved by the electors in accordance with this section, and a bill assented to consequent upon its presentation in contravention of this subsection shall be of no effect as an act.
Just remember, in this system, this Australia Acts Request Act 1985, every state has done it. So these sections 13 and 14 and how they've taken out the governors is in every state. This is all referendum entrenched. There's been no referendums for this whatsoever. There's been no referendums for the Commonwealth of Australia or the status of the Commonwealth of Australia to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation. This whole system is explaining to us treason.
Therefore, all Australia Acts, Request Acts 1985, Australia Act 1986 and Australia Acts Request Act 1999 are all done to the political parties treasonously change constitutional definitions without a referendum in 1973.
That was all explained in the takeover by definition, where they changed the constitutional definitions. We had the constitutional definitions of 1901, and in 1973 they changed the constitutional definitions, and therefore then they copyrighted our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act and put their corporation seal on top and used their changed constitutional definitions within that system.
Referendums by the political parties Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. Governor-General Trader fraudulently produced a writ for the political parties to have a referendum to become a republic or stay as a constitutional monarchy. Referendum 1999 of treason. Question 1. To alter the Constitution to establish the Commonwealth of Australia as a republic with the Queen and Governor-General being replaced by a President appointed by a 2/3 majority of the members of the Commonwealth Parliament. Question 2. To alter the Constitution to insert a preamble. Results. Question 1. The referendum was not carried. No states recorded a yes vote. Nationally, 45.13% of electors voted yes. Question 2. The referendum was not carried. No states recorded a yes vote. Nationally, 39.34% of electors voted yes. The political party's Republican Australian Electoral Commissioner, under their sovereign, independent and federal nation, force people as established under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9, and the schedule as proclaimed and gazetted, to vote in this referendum to become a republic or to stay a constitutional monarchy, and took no notice of the results. These political parties enacted treason upon themselves.
What we've also got to remember there is the fact that political parties don't represent the people. Political parties are not within our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. This whole damn thing is just total fraud and enforcing treason over our country, Commonwealth of Australia, as its establishment in 1901.
So, Queensland Acts, Interpretation Acts 1954, 9A, Declaration of Validity of certain laws. Each provision of an act enacted, or purporting to have been enacted, before the commencement of the Australia Acts has, and always has had, the same effect as it would have had, and is, and always has been, as valid as it would have been, if the Australia Acts had been in operation at the time of its enactment or purported enactment. The Oxford Dictionary. Purport is a verb, appear to be or do, especially falsely.
Just remember with this declaration of validity of certain laws. Now it's interesting to note that like every state did this Australia Acts Request Act, every state did this Australia 9A Declaration of Validity of Certain Laws. It comes under different numbers, but every state Acts Interpretation Act has these words within it, because they all know there's no such thing as royal assent from this time, from 1985 forward, because you can't get royal assent from a sovereign independent federal nation. And as explained in the Australia Acts, in the takeover by definition, when they turn around and changed the constitutional definitions and changed the Governor General, you can't get royal assent by taking over the Governor General. You can't get royal assent from a state governor when he doesn't represent the Crown. There's no Crown authority in this system at all.
Saving of operation of repealed act, etc. Number 20. 1. The repeal, amendment or expiry of an act or a provision of an act does not c. affect a right, privilege, obligation or liability acquired, accrued or incurred under the act or provision. In the political parties' own acts tell us that their Australia Acts have no authority and that they can't take away a right. This is Kim Beazley in Federal Parliament in 1990, quote, "The United Nations has given the federal government a mandate of ownership for housing, property, farms and businesses to government control once the Republic has been proclaimed."
Basically all Kim Beazley is doing there is just enforcing the Australia Acts Request Act, because and what we've got to remember is the political parties joined all the system. In 1999 we voted all their systems out, so we have all our systems. We just have to stand up for them, because like this Kim Beazley, he's just a treasonous piece of shit like the rest, and he's only enforcing what happened with the Australia Acts.
The status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation is a republic, which equals treason. All states joined the political party's treasonous sovereign, independent and federal nation. Therefore, no Australian Parliament, government, court All their security agencies, federal and state police, have Crown and constitutional authority. Australia Acts Request Act 1985. All states. You can't get past this act till the entrenched referendums have taken place and the criminal charges of treason are heard in a court of competent jurisdiction to the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule. Australia Request and Consent Act 1985 Commonwealth. This act was enacted to the political parties changed constitutional definitions in 1973, the creation of their statutory Australia, no Crown and constitutional authority. Australia Act 1986 Commonwealth. This act was enacted to the political parties changed constitutional definitions in 1973, the creation of their statutory Australia, no Crown and constitutional authority. Australia Act 1999, all states. This act was enacted to the political parties changed constitutional definitions in 1973, the creation of their statutory Australia and Crown and constitutional authority.
It's the creation of their statutory Australia. Now, this is because it's a company. These Australia, Commonwealth of Australia. Now, a statutory company can't have common law. It is created by statute. It is governed by statute. Therefore, it can't have common law. Therefore, we, the people, live under common law of England. We have every right under that system. But in a statutory Australia, we have no rights at all.
Australia Act 1986 UK was enacted to the power of the civil law of the European Union. It's not worth the paper it's written on. But the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule and the criminal acts made pursuant to that constitution, has authority over them when the people wake up. We the people of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule, voted in 1999 to stay as a constitutional monarchy. Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, clause 5, operation of the Constitution and laws. This Act and all laws made by the Parliament of the Commonwealth under the Constitution shall be binding on the courts, judges and people of every state and of every part of the Commonwealth, notwithstanding anything in the laws of any state.